So on August 28th, you'll be releasing your third album, which is called Spring in Blue. What can you tell me about this album?
Oh, well, I think that this album is the best way to describe our sound compared to the other albums, since we developed a lot of shades into our music and we kind of try to give them the real approach to the music that we play. So there are always post-rock stuff, post-punk stuff, and black metal parts, but everything is more cohesive, I'd say, more organic. And we recorded it live in New York at Colin Marston's studio, Man Across the Thousand Caves, which is the place where a lot of fundamental records for us have been recorded. So, yeah, I would say this is the more mature work that we have done. I know it's weird that we say by ourselves that this is our mature work, but it is, definitely.
There definitely seems to be more of an emphasis on longer songs and more atmosphere. Was your songwriting process the same for this album as for the previous albums?
You mean if it was different?
Yeah.
Not actually. I'd say that it's different only because we listened to a lot of stuff and we decided to merge more genres into our formula. But in terms of writing itself, I don't think it is different. It's just more mature, I'd say.
Can you expand on that idea? When you say it's more mature, have you guys progressed as musicians and songwriters? And if so, how so?
Yeah, I think that it's more like we become more aware of the formula that we were presenting on our records, if it makes sense.
So with this album, you're trying to get away from the formula?
No. We are still stick at this formula, but we are more aware of the formula compared to the previous records.
I see. Okay. So as you mentioned, you recorded this album with Colin Marston in New York. First of all, when did you record this with Colin? Because New York has gone through a hell of a year this year.
Yeah, it's been recorded exactly 1 year ago.
I see. Okay. So you mentioned that Colin recorded a lot of albums that were fundamental to Seventh Genocide.
Yes.
Would you mind telling me what those albums would be?
Okay, I would say the Krellis albums, definitely. I would say the Liturgy albums that he recorded. And there are a lot of other bands like Panopticon, Wayfarer. Let me think. There are so many, False. A lot of black metal stuff from the United States has been recorded by him, Lycus, Loss. Yeah, there are so many. But I would say Krellis, Panopticon, Liturgy, Chaos are just some of the more influential, definitely.
So I've talked to a number of people who recorded with Colin. He's a very influential figure in that area, in the metal scene in that area. What was it like for you guys to work with him?
It was awesome. It was really great because first it was our first experience outside our country about recording. It was also the first time for us to record an album live. And it was absolutely great since when we were telling him how we wanted to sound, he was already aware of what we were asking for, because all the albums he recorded were an influence on us. So it was very, very easy to tell him what we wanted.
So when you say that this was the first album you recorded live, what was your previous way of recording?
Recorded all the instruments separately with the previous records.
Okay. And so was that something that you were looking forward to, recording the album live? Because that also, that can be extremely challenging, especially for a band that writes long, epic 13-minute songs.
Yeah, in a way it is. But the feeling that we have when we play live, it's absolutely better than the feeling you get on a song that has separate instruments recorded. So we wanted to have the same mood that you feel when you watch a show that we play.
Now, was there a long rehearsal period for you guys to be able to record the album live?
Yes, absolutely. I remember we've been like the whole spring and summer 2019, we were like rehearsing 3 times a week or so. We were always rehearsing, I remember. Super tired after work. It's been crazy.
There also seems to be more of a sense of space on this album. Space in terms of, I don't know if you know what I mean, but compared to some of your earlier recordings, which were very compressed. This one is very, I don't know how else to say it, very spacious.
Yeah, I usually say that it has a strong rock feeling more than metal.
Okay.
So we wanted to capture this kind of feeling. That is also a trademark of Colin Records. A lot of if I don't consider the death metal records that has a really metal mood, all the black metal records he recorded are very, very rock in terms of sound, and that was exactly the way we wanted to sound.
Back in May, you released a video for the song Wings of the Ark.
Yes.
Which the video has a lot of footage from your time in New York. How long were you in New York, and how would you describe the experience?
Okay, we recorded the album in 1 week.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe something less. Yeah, we 4 days we had the full album. Yeah, we stayed in New York for a week, and then I stayed also for another week, but alone, since the other guys had to come back to Rome. So I'd say the period that we've been there for the recording has been 1 week. And we also played a show in New York.
Oh, cool. Was it at St. Vitus?
No, it was the
Oh,
Kingsland.
okay. Was that in
In
Queens?
Brooklyn.
In Brooklyn, okay.
Brooklyn, yes.
So tell me a little bit about the video for Wings of the Ark. Besides being footage of your time in New York, what aspect of the song or the album do you think it represents?
Well, I think that it doesn't really represent any song in particular, but it represents the experience of the recording the song. So we wanted to have like a reportage of our experience during the recordings in New York. And I think it gives absolutely that feeling when I watch it.
So one of the things that struck me is that there's a picture of what appears to be a skyscraper on the cover of the album, and a lot of the footage in the video is of the various buildings and skyscrapers in New York. Mm-hmm. Thematically, is there a link?
No, absolutely no. And it's the first time I actually reflect on this, and no, there is no connection actually. The cover is inspired by an anime, Japanese anime from the early 2000s, which is called Digimon Tamers. It's known to be a teen show, but that series in particular has a lot of cyberpunk elements, sci-fi elements. And we really liked the theme of the skyscraper with this kind of red evil slime. It feels very Lovecraftian actually if you watch it. So we just wanted to capture this image, but there is no connection with New York actually, since it is supposed to be Tokyo.